Welcome to this explainer. Today we are breaking down the anatomical domino effect of poor posture, and more importantly, the permanent four-move solution to actually fix it. We often think of our posture as merely an aesthetic issue, like standing up straight just to look a little taller. But the reality is that it's a deeply mechanical issue that dictates the health of your entire body. But before we even think about getting physically stronger or throwing heavier weights on the bar, we've got to pause and ask ourselves a really fundamental question. Can you actually build ultimate strength on a completely broken foundation? Well, physical therapist Jeff Cavalier points out a fantastic case study with his client Jesse. Looking at Jesse's incredible physical transformation, Cavalier noted those muscle gains would actually be impossible had he not first fixed his posture. And the takeaway here is literally massive. You simply cannot safely attack a strength training program if your body is out of alignment. If you try, you are just begging for joint pain and severe injuries down the line. So let's dive right into this physiological roadmap and repair the body systematically. We're going to cover the posture-strength connection, on-rounding the upper back, pulling back the shoulders, curing the infamous nerd neck, and finally, fixing the pelvic base. All right, section 1, the posture-strength connection, or what we like to call the anatomical domino effect. The human spine is one fully connected unit. That means poor posture isn't just an isolated event, it acts as a chain reaction where one misalignment physically forces the rest of the body to improperly compensate. Think about this physical limitation for a second. You cannot fully lift your arms over your head if your upper back is heavily rounded. Seriously, go ahead and try it right now, wherever you are. If you slump your upper spine forward, your shoulder mechanics are instantly blocked. Throwing yourself under a heavy barbell with this kind of compromised frame is just begging for trouble. Moving along to section 2. Unrounding the upper back, which is really the root of the entire problem. We have to start with a condition called thoracic kyphosis. Basically, this is a rounded upper back position that severely restricts your arm mobility and triggers all that downward bodily compensation we were just talking about. When your thoracic spine becomes kyphotic, which is just a fancy word for excessively rounded, you completely lose your natural ability to extend your spine fully. Guys, this is the very first absolutely crucial domino to fall. So how do we fix it? Go grab a standard broomstick. You're going to lie face down on the floor with your arms wide out on the stick. From there, roll to your right, actively extending and rotating your spine. Hold it for just a couple of seconds, then roll left, repeating this for about 5 to 6 reps. Now, why are we doing it exactly like this? Because to truly fix thoracic kyphosis, you absolutely must pair spinal extension with rotation. We always have to respect the rotational plane of how the spine naturally operates, and this broomstick roll safely forces that exact natural movement. Okay, section 3, pulling back the shoulders, our daily battle against gravity. Once that upper back starts to round forward, it becomes incredibly hard to fight gravity, right? And that brings us to the resulting shoulder slump. This leads directly to a phenomenon called adaptive shortening. It's exactly what it sounds like, the physical tightening of the chest muscles on the front of your body as a direct consequence of those prolonged rounded shoulders. As your shoulders roll forward day after day, your chest muscles literally adapt by becoming shorter and tighter. That means we have to actively counteract this whole process by learning how to pull. Your primary weapon for this? The face pull. Here's exactly how you execute it. Pull your arms back, making sure to keep them absolutely as wide as possible. Then, externally rotate so your thumbs point right behind you. Finally, aggressively squeeze the posterior deltoids and rhomboids in your upper back, and just hold that contraction. This movement forces external rotation to aggressively develop the muscles in your upper back, which in turn stretches out that adaptively shortened chest. Now, when you're attacking these exercises, you need to completely shift your overarching philosophy. Rushing through one set of 10 sloppy reps, that is completely the wrong mentality. The right mentality is treating it like 10 sets of one perfect, high-quality rep. You've got to make every single repetition count. Execute the movement, hold the contraction, and really own the position. Which brings us to section 4, dropping right into the cervical spine, curing the nerd neck, which is all about how we manage to look straight ahead. Think about it. Because your upper back and shoulders are rounding downward, your body's natural trajectory is literally facing the floor. So just to look straight ahead at your computer screen or the horizon, your head physically has to peek up. This compensation, appropriately nicknamed the nerd neck, is a forward-leaning head posture developed entirely just to compensate for that rounded spine. And the real danger here? It creates a severe weakness in the deep flexors at the very front of your neck. To correct this, we have to isolate those weakened muscles. Tuck a tennis ball right between your sternum and your chin, then carefully balance a 5 to 10 pound wrapped plate right on your head. From there, move your head from slight extension into neutral flexion, maintaining that firm ball tuck for quality reps. By firmly tucking a tennis ball under your chin, you are physically forced to properly engage those weak, deep neck flexors while executing small, resisted movements. You literally can't cheat the movement with the ball there.
All right, finally, section 5, fixing at the pelvic base to support the entire system.
We have arrived at the absolute foundation of our postural structure, the pelvis. This brings us to posterior pelvic tilt, sometimes humorously referred to as the ass knot posture. This occurs when the pelvis tucks underneath the body because short, tight hamstrings are constantly pulling it downward. Because the upper body is rounding forward, the pelvis is basically forced to tuck underneath just to support the structural mess happening above it. The result? Super tight hamstrings and a flat, tucked posture. So, to stretch those hamstrings effectively, elevate your foot on a surface, pointing your toes toward your head, which is called dorsiflexion, while keeping the knee totally straight. Now, here is the real key. Force your butt out into an anterior pelvic tilt, and only then reach your arms forward and hold for 45 seconds per side. To truly stretch the hamstring and reset your base, you absolutely must force your pelvis into that anterior tilt, literally sticking your butt out before you ever even think about reaching forward.
Okay, let's bring all of this together into your complete action plan. Unround the upper back with broomstick rolls. Pull those shoulders back with targeted face pulls. Strengthen the deep flexors to cure that nerd neck. And restore the pelvis with anterior tilt hamstring stretches. By actively working on these 4 moves together as one cohesive plan of attack, you will permanently adapt your body and secure the rock-solid physical foundation required for ultimate strength.
Which leaves us with one final and absolutely critical question. Will you continue trying to build your strength on a broken foundation, or are you finally ready to fix your frame permanently? Look, it didn't take you just one single day to ruin your posture, right? But with focused, high-quality repetitions, you absolutely can reverse the damage. Are you finally ready to commit to building a foundation that lasts? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope it helps you stand a little taller and train a whole lot safer.